You've prayed, you've cried, you've fasted until your body was weak. You deleted the apps, burned the magazines, and stayed up all night pleading with God, please just take this away. And yet, the struggle is still there. Every morning you wake up thinking, maybe today will be different. But by night you find yourself back in the same war. I know that exhaustion, that shame, that question you're almost too afraid to ask. God, why won't you just set me free? But what if I told you something shocking? What if the very thing you've been running from is actually the thing God is using to rescue your soul? What if the fire you're desperate to escape is the furnace that's purifying you? What if your unanswered prayer isn't rejection, but preparation? Tonight, we're going to peel back the layers no one talks about in church. We're going to explore why God sometimes allows a struggle to remain and the purpose that's been hidden from you until now. And if you stay until the very end, I'll reveal a Bible verse that Satan hopes you never read because it explains everything about this fight. Lust. We treat it like it's just a sin, something you either conquer or you don't. But here's the truth. Lust isn't just the crime, it's the clue. It's a symptom of something deeper inside your heart. When you get sick, the fever isn't the problem. It's a signal. In the same way your battle with lust points to a wound, a hunger, an identity question inside you. The enemy knows this. That's why he attacks not just your body, but your identity. He whispers, "You're nothing but a pervert. God is disgusted with you. This is just who you are." But that's a lie, designed to make you hide from the one who's calling you closer. Paul knew this battle. He begged God 3 times to remove the thorn in my flesh. Many believe it could have been a struggle like yours. And what did God say? Not, "I will take it away," but "my grace is sufficient for you." Because sometimes victory isn't in the removal of the struggle, but in the intimacy forged in the middle of it. So what if your fight isn't proof of God's absence, but his presence working deep within you? And that brings us to the question, if God has the power to free you instantly, why doesn't he? Here's the hard but hopeful truth. Instant deliverance can be more dangerous than the struggle itself. Imagine a storm. You're begging for it to stop. But God sees the rain as watering a seed in your soul that will one day feed thousands. If he stops it too soon, that seed dies. Look at Joseph. He resisted temptation, but instead of reward, he was thrown into prison. Why? Because God was preparing him for the palace, and Joseph wasn't ready yet. Maybe your prison, this repeated fight, isn't punishment, but preparation. If God removed your struggle instantly, would you still chase him? Or would you start worshiping the gift more than the giver? Some blessings become idols if we get them too soon. So God waits, not because he's cruel, but because he's building a faith no temptation can shake. But while you wait, you're not helpless. This isn't about sitting in the dark. It's about learning to fight like a child of God. First, your words are weapons. Every yes to temptation signs a silent agreement with darkness. Break it the way Jesus did, by speaking the word out loud. Psalm 119:37 says, "Turn my eyes from worthless things." Say it in the moment of temptation and watch the atmosphere shift. Second, worship is your secret weapon. The enemy expects you to hide in shame. But when you worship in temptation, darkness is confused. Your song tells hell, "You can't take this from me." Third, make a covenant with your eyes. Job didn't just use a metaphor when he said he made a covenant not to look lustfully. He meant it. Maybe today it's your turn to make that promise. And I want you to hear this. Your struggle isn't random. It may actually prove you are dangerous to hell. The enemy doesn't waste his best weapons on people who aren't a threat. God could erase your temptation instantly, but he's after something bigger. Your heart, your trust, your dependence on him while you're still in the fight. Job's suffering wasn't abandonment. It was preparation for double restoration. Israel's 40 years in the wilderness wasn't about being lost. It was training for the promised land. And Paul's thorn kept him humble, dependent on grace. Lust isn't the destination. It's the door. If Satan wins here, he gains access to everything else. But close this door and you protect the rest of your life. It's time to stop treating lust like a vague feeling and call it what it is. A spirit. The early church named them Jezebel, Lilith, Asmodeus. Spiritual forces whispering lies for centuries. Their deadliest lie, this is just who you are. But heaven calls you overcomer. Not because you've never fallen, but because you keep getting back up. You're not failing, you're fighting. So declare war, speak it out loud. I choose purity. Say it daily until the spirit that's been speaking to you knows it's been evicted. And remember this, lust trembles when you worship in temptation. Shame loses its grip when praise takes over. You don't have to feel strong to win, you just have to decide. And now the verse Satan fears most, Galatians 5:16. Walk by the Spirit and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. Not maybe, not sometimes, you will not. This is your battle plan. Freedom isn't about more willpower, it's about walking so closely with the Holy Spirit that your desires change from the inside. The enemy calls you addict, lustful, too far gone, but heaven calls you overcomer. And the proof? You're still here. You're still fighting. This is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of a new chapter. So right now, speak it. Maybe even type it in the comments. I choose purity, not as a slogan, not as a wish, but as a declaration of war. Because when you make that choice, heaven stands with you. Hell trembles, and the chains you thought would never break start to shatter. This is your moment. This is your battle. And with God, this is your victory. Fade to black on-screen text. Galatians 5:16. Walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. If this message opened your eyes, don't keep it to yourself. Hit that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and share it with someone who's fighting this battle in silence. And before you leave, drop in the comments, I choose purity. Let's declare it together and make hell tremble.